How's everyone doing? All right. Let's just get into it. I think it's time to start a new repo. You know, it's always a good time to start a new repo. What is this? All right, whatever. Let's create a new repo. We'll keep it private for right now. We'll make it public in a little bit. We'll call this. You know what? Actually, before I make this, did I already make this? I feel like I did, but it was a while ago. Let's see. We have Twitch, NullDB animations, assembly line. Yeah, learn Rust. We have the null farm, configuration of the null farm, null cloud deployments, and the website. But yeah, we don't have. Okay. Like I thought. We don't have this. No template, null channel. Okay. Naming. Naming's hard. So basically, this is the thing that takes all of our monoliths and makes microservices. Now, it doesn't actually make the microservices. All this piece should do is run them. So I think the idea that I'm going with right now that we're going to do is basically you have this the app that's described here. And that sits here. I'm just going to say it's a monolith, but you guys know that that's not really true. Monolith. And then what happens is there's some sort of API, there's some sort of CLI that works on this and splits it up and makes API requests to the Null Cloud. And this is the piece that we're going to start working on a little bit today. And basically, this should be able to run stuff and make stuff part of a part of an API. And so we need to make this API that exists to do this, and then we can build a CLI that takes this monolith project and does the things. So, what are we going to call it though? We'll have to, you know what? We'll call it something, and then we'll have to get the community to call it something eventually. So it's the I actually think we're gonna call it microlith. Microlith are us. Microliths are us. Is it lich or lich? The lich, right? No T. There we go. Micro lich. It's the microservice killer. Yeah. couldn't come up with a better name on the spot. Add a readme, no git ignore. This is gonna be probably, at least initially, the majority is gonna be in Go. And we're gonna put it under the Apache too. Right, we're gonna clone this. Yes, sir. All right. Now, what are we gonna do? We're gonna make a kubebuilder project inside of here, because that's too much to explain. We're gonna do a kubebuilder. It's either a kubebuilder or kubeRS. Is this still kicking? 3 days ago. Thought it might be nice to do it in Go just to change it up. So I'm not always doing everything in Rust. You know, I don't know. I really do like Rust, but I also like Go well enough. Go's a little fast. I think Go will just be faster. And as I actually want this to be a thing, I think I'm just going to say we're going to go with Go. We're going to go with kubebuilder. It's been about a year since I've used it. But yeah, let's see how easy it is to use here on bleh, operator SDK. Bleh. Let's install. One second. Let's see if Arch has. Oh no. We'll see. If I go down this path, we might be here for a little while. Oh boy. Let's see. My goodness. Let's see. Linux firmware. Okay. The great thing is, one second. Let's not do any of that. Let's just look at kubebuilder. I was going to say, I don't think it actually has kubebuilder. So I need to do that, but we'll just go with this. We'll just go with the good old. Okay. We have an extra backslash right there. All right. Okay, good. We got rid of it. Now, what we want to do is we probably want to make this its own thing, own folder. So I think for the Null Cloud, what we're going to do right now, every service that powers this service that's going to take our code like this and run it as a microservice with all of those types of things. There's actually going to be several components doing that. Eventually, I would like it to run all on this. Not Mario. I actually just watched the Mario movie with my kids. I don't know, I didn't like it that much, but that was good with the me it's me Mario because that was like the key phrase through the entire thing. Hey Russell, how are you? The kids did like it, so that's probably all that matters. It was fun. I went for lunch with them, which meant we got the whole theater. There is a theater within 5 minutes of walking from me. It might be like half hour walking. It is a 1 minute drive, maybe. So it's an hour and a half movie. We went for lunch, and it was fun. It was fun. We enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. We had the whole theater to ourselves, which was awesome. We I get baited every single time. We go and it's like, hey, you can see this in 3D. And I was like, it's animated. It's probably decent, a decent 3D movie. Um, yeah, the lunch experiences are fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Especially since I have a family. We don't do it often, but like once a month or so, we try to do something around lunch. Whether we take a picnic to a park or, something like that. We might do that more than once a month. Something like going to the movie, we do like once a year. No, that's exactly what I was saying. And my kids came around with the same thing because like the ticket price is like double anyways. And so we were like, hey, you know what? I haven't gone to a 3D movie since I was younger, and I really remembered hating it. And then they had like the helmets and stuff, and it was way worse. It was way worse. But we just haven't gone to one, so we're like, you know what? We're gonna go to the 3D. We're gonna pay the extra. We're gonna make this fun. Nope. We were all like, next time we'll just not go through that. It was not it was not that great. Um, yeah, it was awful. It was awful. I got a headache from it. The kids were fine. Um, it was better than like the movies I saw 15 years ago. The movies I saw 15 years ago, there would be like two things that shot out at you, and everything else wasn't 3D. In this, almost every single scene had layers of like 3D ability. Like, so in that regard, it was way better than it was. But it still wasn't great though. If it was a VR movie, it might be different, but it would also probably be sickening. I've thought about that. What if it was a 3D movie and you could actually see, all around you and look around? Um, so like when it's rendered, you can't just render what's in front of you. You have to render a whole scene. I think that would like probably triple the cost of the movie to make. But it might also be sickening though because yeah, if you think that you're moving and you're not moving, that's the simulation sickness. So I feel like that could be really sickening. What I think it will come down to is like Right. Yes, 100%. The issue would be that you'd have to track with the action and probably trigger motion sickness. That's what I'm saying is like when the camera's moving and whatnot, and if they make you turn to the action or what's going on, yeah. I've done enough 3D that I know that makes you very sick very quickly. Very quickly. Whew. Anyways, it was good experience. It's still terrible. Definitely not worth paying extra for. Definitely not worth paying extra for. It's literally like, so on Tuesdays, it's $6 to go to the movie theater, or it's $10 to go with 3D. Normally it's like 20, and so like, it's nice to go on Tuesdays. That's why we went on Tuesday. But we almost paid double for. It was an experience. I mean, it was worth it for an experience, but yeah. Or worse still, you keep looking away at the important moment to basically miss the movie. Okay, maybe it's a terrible idea. It sounded cool in my head. It sounded cool in my head where I was like, yeah, that would actually be kind of cool. Um, I almost think that you could do like a game movie where there was very little actual game, but like mostly a movie. I don't know. Maybe you couldn't. I feel like there's something there, but maybe not. Maybe not. All right. So what I was starting to do, Russell, I didn't expect you, but I'm happy you're here. What I was starting to do was basically work on. We have this application, and I'm not debugging a webhook tonight. Well, I will if we run out of everything else. But basically, we need something that takes this monolith, and we need a Null Cloud that actually runs it. That there's an API that we can upload chunks of this monolith as microservices, and it knows how to run microservices. So the first thing we were going to do is make something that can deploy a container in an isolated environment. So I was thinking about using kubeRS, but then I was like, you know what, this is something I actually want to get done and out there, and so I'm going to just use kubebuilder because I think it will be faster instead of kubeRS. Yeah, I just think it will be faster, so I'm gonna make this component out of it. Now there'll be a lot of components in it, so like it's just one of the components. That's fine. You don't need to be here all stream. You should go to bed if you're feeling like going to bed. Yeah, for sure. I was just letting you know what I was up to. I called it. It's a mono repo for the thing that does all of that. I'm just gonna put in one repo to keep it simple, and it's called micro lich because it kills microservices. Horrible name, but if it becomes big and there's a community around it, we can hold something to name it because that's a horrible name. Absolutely horrible name. I get it. All right, we're using kubebuilder. We installed kubebuilder too. I also need to update my computer later on. I updated it like a week ago. This is killing me. These updates. This is getting hard where it's like I want to go install something, but I'd have to update my entire system to install something. I think this is maybe my biggest complaint about Arch at this point. And everything that I install makes installing something else harder because there's more dependencies that need updated each install. You update, maybe that's what I need to like get accustomed to is just log in and maybe make it a part of a login script or something. So what you were asking, part of the architecture here. So you were saying like where these seams are, is this like one thread? That's what we're doing right now. was wondering about this architecture earlier. Should the monolith version just use threads for each seamed area? I think that's what we're going. I mean, like, we're doing something kind of new, and so, like, I'm sure that we'll end up coming up with stuff and being like, that doesn't work. But that's what I'm going with right now. Is that each of these barriers is its own thread. So in this right here, it runs currently, it has 3 threads, I believe. There's the Twitch API, so this part right here, that's getting stuff. And then the AI part has its own thread. That's where we had that thread. We were holding the sender across an await. So we can look at the AI manager service here. And you can see here we're running, and this run is used in a thread. Let's see. So yeah. Again, I don't know if I'm not going to make the argument that this is correct. This is what I've done. This is what I've done. I think it makes sense because the nice part about this is it allows this to think about itself as itself. Like, it doesn't have to worry that anything that it does is blocking. It only communicates with this receiver across a thread by a message, which is how it's going to communicate in real life, by this message. We're just going to swap out the messaging system. Instead of a thread, it's going to do this. Now, the only weird thing is if we wanted to do multi-threaded things here, which we do want to do, this should be able to be multi-threaded itself. And as it is, because this AI manager in run calls this new event. So it's in when it runs itself, it's going to spin up new ones itself. So like I said, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm going with right now. What we're creating tonight is the part that lives up here. The Null Cloud part. And basically, what I think we're going to do is we're going to create something that runs containers in an isolated thing. It's going to work as a Kubernetes operator. And basically, then we create a CLI, a Null Cloud CLI RS, that is going to know this architecture. And it's going to build the things and send them up to this. So I don't think that the Null Cloud, the service that lives in the cloud, should know about breaking up a specific language. And what I like about that is I'd like to bring this to Go and then maybe to Java, And with each one of those, all that needs to be done is made this client part, this CLI, this thing that takes a Java project. And that way each language can also implement it itself. So that means this Null Cloud should be generic in general. It shouldn't care really what language. It's going to care about containers and things like that. And yeah, the CLI, I think, again, maybe we get to a point and we're like, no, that's the wrong way to do it. That's what I'm going to try to do, though. I've never seen a cloud provider do it this way, so there might be good reason. Sometimes there's good reason. Okay, I haven't used this for a while. Yeah, tell me the commands. That's what I did the help for. Oh, okay. Here we go. It's kubebuilder create builder. Create API. And so then I was talking about whether I do it in Rust because there's Rust RS, but I do think that I like Rust. I think that I'll get done faster if I use Go. And the Go ecosystem was then my next thing. And this will give us another language to, freshen up on a little. Let's see. So this is, let's see. Oh, actually, before we do that, we want to make a directory, and we'll say this is the container runner. Container. Now we'll do this. There's a couple things. Where's there getting started? Quick start. Create an API. It's kubebuilder create API. This is what I want. Group, version, and kind. Okay. That's what I want. The other thing that I need to do, since I want to use Go modules, is there's a... Yeah, honestly, rewriting... honestly, I don't think that this would be hard to write in Rust, and yeah, it's all about. I mean, yeah, we'll see. If we need to rewrite it in Rust, we'll rewrite it in Rust. Or if there's a major change, because like I said, we're trying new stuff. And so if there's a major change, that might be a good time to rewrite it in rewrite in Rust. But I don't really think for what it's doing, I'm going to have that. The other thing that I thought would be really nice in Go is Go has this really nice template feature that is going to allow me to basically build out some templates for how deployments should work and substitute variables in. And I'm not sure Rust has that. Like I said, I think Go's just going to be faster for what we're trying to do for right now. Yeah. When I get all that venture capitalist, that VC funding, to make this real, then it's all Rust, burning their money. Never gonna get it now. That's not at all what I wanted. I thought I copied this. I did think that I needed to give Oh, this is what kubebuilder init. This is what I was looking for. Didn't think I was crazy. Yeah, I mean, honestly, GC on Go is really good for the most part. I think where you actually hit it is when you're talking about cost. If you're starting to spend $1 million a month in running these things, then I do think that you could make the argument of cost wise. But I'll wait until I'm starting to spend $1 million a month or something. To start to do that. You know what? I hate the don't pre-optimize. I think that you should do, depending on the project, at least some optimize. Don't do it in Python if you know that it's going to be a critical component of your system. It's never going to be performant. Even in Python 4, it's just not going to, yeah. I don't have a domain yet, so we'll just do Null Labs. But I don't have Null Labs. We'll do Null Cloud. And then this is the repo. Can we do a sub? That's what I'm hoping we can do, because I was going to do it in Container Runner. I don't know. I haven't done this. I've started watching the All In podcast. I would judge you if I knew what the All In podcast was. And there, which, I know of all the good podcasts, obviously. And they're starting to talk about VC funding of innovation being outside the realms of big tech, and that big tech might not even be able to acquire it soon. Do you mean like it would be outside the realms of me being able to obtain VC funding because I'm in tech? Or are you saying like, I guess I don't understand what you're saying. Personally, I don't like how our clouds operate. I think that they were all created in a way to support VMs. And I think that 95% of teams don't need VMs. I mean, I think it's good to offer a VM. I think you should, as a big cloud provider, you should have a VM solution for sure, 100%. But I don't think that's where microservices and stuff like I want a cloud that helps you deploy quickly and fast. Oh, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I, you know, I, yeah, I don't know. But that's what I would like to have as a cloud. Yeah. And now this was right here. Group. Oh, I had shift. Let's see. The kind. What is the kind going to be? This is going to be a type of deployment, right? Well, we shouldn't call it deployment because it's a null cloud deployment. It should be a null application. This all very well could and should change. Can we do pre-alpha one? And the group is going to be null app. Which then the kind really shouldn't be a null application, but that's really what it is. It's a null cloud application. It's defining, yeah. A nappy. Oh boy. We're gonna get our nappies in. You know what? I'm just going with this. We'll change it. We'll change it later. That's. It's a terrible name, and I get it. I'm not even. I feel like it will come to us as the thing comes on, because honestly, I don't want it to be named null anyways, because I'm using it as the null cloud, but I want it to be an open source piece of tech that anybody could run. And so like you don't want to run the null cloud. You want to run the piece of software that's going to allow you to have the null cloud on any system. Because the thing that I think could be really cool here is basically we're building a control plane you can run anywhere. I run it and you can join mine, or you can join mine and also run it on your own data center. And yeah, anyways, you can get a nappy with it. But yeah, naming will come later. Can we delete AWS out of here? AWS toolkit. I do not want this. Uninstall, please. I will take the reload. Thank you. Ah. That was the worst experience I have ever had in my entire life. Okay, so we're going to open a folder and no, it's right at the top. Right at the top. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I trust the author. Oh yeah, I'm so done with Code Whisperer. That was me not only disabling it, just getting rid of any evidence of it being on my machine. I don't think they'll be able to give it away after I make my video. Yeah, I actually think it makes me slower. I found most of its most. Now you're gonna make me install it again just to show you. I've actually captured quite a bit of video of it for my video, so I've done a lot of screen captures of the things that I want to complain about. But you know, one of the things will be like this, and this isn't going to be everybody, but like I'll start typing here, and it will give me an inline thing, but push out it passed off the screen over here. And usually while I'm streaming, I have it nice and big like this. And so like I can't see the rest of the line because it interjected in the middle. And it usually interjects with garbage. It's just not even helpful stuff. Like if it was right even half the time, I'd be like, oh, I could forgive it because it's right a lot of the time. I have only used one of its suggestions in the Saturday stream. One of its suggestion. So I don't know. I was pretty then let's see, Monday and Sunday I did some like some things, just trying to like I have a list of a few things that I'm trying to do the same on each one, and it's just absolutely annoying me. You know, another thing is if it does a multi-line, it does them one at a time, one line at a time, and then when it wants to do a close parenthesis, it does a comment. It cannot do a close parentheses for its life. It can't. It just starts giving you nonsense commented code, and it's like not even a comment of like, "Oh, we have finished." No. It's like some extra code that's gibberish in a comment. when the teacher marks your homework with "Don't try harder, just give up." That's kind of what I don't know. This was the same complaints I had before it went GA. So I tried it when it first came out, and I liked some aspects of it. Now, the only thing I do have to say is some languages were better. That was for Rust. For Rust, it's absolute garbage, unusable. Go, it's pretty rough, but it's better. The little bit of Java that I did and the little bit of C# that I did, it actually wasn't bad. It seemed to do okay with Java and C#, so it probably works better for a lot of people, but it doesn't do Go and Rust very well. And it says that it supports those just as much as the other ones do. So I did. Now, that also being said, my C# and my Java stuff was like really simple code because I don't know them very well. I was just doing a few very simple tasks. So I don't know. I didn't have the end curly brace problem in Java and C#. That's like the only big difference that I saw. It could actually finish a function, which, yeah. So yeah, I mean Java and C# are massively popular, so I am going to put that in my video because like I said, I like to be fair. But for me personally, it's not doing it. Another thing that Tab 9 as well as Code Whisperer don't do is they don't do any type of document. One thing that I've liked about Copilot is it does fairly well with make files, with bash, with YAML files. It does pretty well with all of them. Like I would say it's probably like 50% of the time helpful, but like I don't know, 50% seems pretty good. Yeah, Java is everywhere. There are so many Javaneers. I need my beep button. I need to get that. That's on my list. All right. Let's start making a deployment. Let's start making a deployment. Here's our type. Here's our spec. We don't have a status. Let's see. We need app name string. Like this is the type of stuff that the other ones wouldn't do. They also got the JSON app name. It's kind of not code, but yeah. We might need to keep a version, actually. I think that this would be like the GitHub version. So basically, what I'd like to do is make this as GitOps as possible. So like it almost looks at the commit ID as the version. I'm gonna... let's see what else. I don't know why it's wanting to install this. Okay, let's see. Should, thinking out loud here, I actually, so, you know, I used a little bit of C# like 7-8 years ago, and I was playing with it on Sunday. I actually think that I would use C# probably over Java. I liked it. The .NET Core, being able to run it on Linux was nice. I mean, obviously you can run Java on Linux too. And I have no idea like their performance. Like I can't tell you that C# does memory better. I liked how some of it was structured. There was a weird thing that I saw. Basically, people broke a single class into multiple files. That terrified me. I hope that's not a standard practice. That kind of terrified me. But yeah. Okay, so what was I thinking about? Oh, okay. So here, as a deployment that's running, do I want, or do we... Yeah, partials. That's what the word was. I didn't remember what it is. I was looking at some, like... I tried to get some examples of, like, some trickier code. I didn't do anything with partials because that just disturbed me too much. Yeah. I decided it wasn't fair to the AIs. I was so upset that that was a language feature. Yeah, I was pretty angry that that was a language feature, to be honest. It's like what madman came up with partials. Okay, so when we take this application and we're uploading it, is all of this a null app? is how do I make the text go to the top? Oh, there we go. Is all of this a single null app that then has subcomponents? What about regions? I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe I should. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't get me wrong. I've been around enough where there has been need for very large classes, structs, whatnot, where you're broaching 1,000 lines in one file, and it's horrible, but also kind of not really possible. It would be more horrible to break it into different things, but I think those are really, really, really rare, really rare. And so there's no reason to make things that make that better, because I think that only encourages you to do that more. You should try to avoid that. So you're basically saying I could say, like, collapse this here. Like, collapse this down and into like this. But I could customize it. I don't know that that's a horrible thing. I don't like it. I don't ever have these collapse. Like, I don't know that I'm smart enough to deal with that. It kind of blows my mind. Maybe not the worst thing. Is that really a language feature, or not just like an IDE? You know, you make a special comment here, like this is a region, and this is a comment that will be removed by the code generator. What the crap? I don't know why that's what Copilot thought. Is this some special thing that will get the comment removed? I don't know. Oh, you have to code it in the file. Okay. I don't know. So if this is an application, then this is a piece of the application. We'll call this a app service. I don't know, whatever. I have never had any of them suggest go-to yet. I've never been suggested a go-to. Okay, so my question here is, if it does this, let's say you have another app, another null app. Can its service, can another service in here communicate with one of the services in here? And I mean, they would have to do it by a topic, but I guess my question is this fully sandboxed or not? I want to say a single null application is a full sandbox. And this could only ever hit the public APIs. So anything that was deemed, we haven't come up with how you describe what a public API is. That's on the list. But I want to say this other app would have to just use the public API. If you deployed two nappies. That's right. I guess we're probably going to have to go with nappies at this point. Gosh dang it. I'm also okay with saying we'll figure that out later. Please don't. Then stop suggesting horrible names. Okay, so if that's the case, then we're going to make a, I guess it's going to be an array of these structs here. Null application service struct. This is gonna have a name. Wow. Doesn't need a port. What it will need is a container name. Do we want to say container name be super explicit, or do we just want to do image? We might just do image. So now that we have that, we can go up here and go so we kind of had this idea of services and APIs. I'm wondering if we break this up into APIs as well, like application. Okay. Honestly, I think this right here is enough to go by, because our first step is to deploy a container, like make an HTTP call, have a container deployed. Yeah. Because what I'd like is that this container also gets exposed to the internet. Although that's kind of what our API should do. Yeah, but I guess any REST endpoint on this will just get exposed through the service mesh. Okay. We'll start there, and you know, maybe we'll add those APIs then. I feel like there should be a way to define your APIs instead of just anything that listens to. My only fear is if everything that listens to REST requests, there's no way to make a private API. Basically one that nobody else can use. There's no way to do that. So I feel like we have. I keep going back. We have to have some sort of API thing. But I don't know if that's how you name your project, or if this is like a configuration file only. Like you define your routes and whatnot, and that's the only thing. I don't know. I'd be interested in. I mean, I think you should be able to have a service have multiple endpoints if you want. You should be. There is in the end, and what will happen in the next month. In the next month, I don't know that that's true, but in theory, you should be able to do whatever you like. You shouldn't be limited based off of this. Which is why I think that it's important that you're able to define an API somehow. Now, let me open up code over here. If we're talking about like Twitch alerts here, I had kind of gone on this naming idea where it's like, this is a service. It doesn't expose any API publicly. It's only internal. And this is called API, which means it exposes something publicly. Is that good enough for right now? I don't know. So would the endpoint have a public? Yeah, maybe that's what it would. The endpoint could have a some sort of public flag or struct or something. And you know, maybe the thing is there's no difference between this service and this API except which list it gets put in. You know, maybe this is maybe we call this instead of a null application, null microservice spec. And maybe this is actually, I think I'm starting to like this. And so basically, these are private, these are public. They're the same definition, like the same thing gets built. It's just telling us whether it's a public. Now, this wouldn't allow you to have one microservice that had both a public and a private endpoint, right? It would say that a service is either public or private. Thank you for the. And I think maybe that's okay for right now. Like, this is where we start. Yeah, I don't want to get too bogged down in like solving every problem. I think honestly, you should be able to define a service that has both private and public, but I think we'll start here. Okay, let's get rid of null here. Microservice spec, sure. If you had an idea of a service having endpoints, and those endpoints can be public, private, that would work. Yes, that would work. It wouldn't be then at the service level. That would be defining endpoints. So that would force everybody to define every endpoint that they want. Do I want to do that? And how would I do that? Would it be like uploading a Swagger spec and reading that in? Open API v3. I still call it Swagger. I'm old school. How, like, or is that something in here? Like in here we have I don't know, routes. But this seems painful if I expect them to not port. You're dumb. So this feels rough because it forces them to type it in here, but I could probably generate Swagger then. Actually, maybe that's actually no, I think that this is brilliant. You're right. You can make all the private ones that can be called directly between these two services. This can go and call this directly if it wants. But if you want it to be public, you have to define it. Okay, I'm convinced. And this will also let me take this stuff here, this route spec, and build a Swagger so that you automatically get a Swagger spec documenting your API when you deploy your application. That actually sounds super cool. That actually sounds pretty cool. And it almost forces it would actually force you to. Stop. I don't want it to be port. Go pilot. What I do want is type. Is it a push? Push. But is it a get or whatnot? Yeah, so everything is private unless overridden. I like it. I like it. All right. Now we need to go and do like make install and make something else. We need to make it build is what we need to do. Make manifest. That's what it's called. Oh, it tells me right here. Huh. I had one thing. I need to remove foo. Okay. Q. Yeah. Do I have kind install at this point? Yes. We should be able to see our manifests. Now, I haven't used kubebuilder in a little while, probably about a year. So, let's see if it all looks the same now. This is all the exact same. The new manager, new controller. Okay, perfect. And then in here we should have our built out API, our manifests. And here's our CRD that we can install. But it shouldn't have foo. I removed that, right? I did remove that. Did I? It's in the config CRD bases. Yeah. Oh wait, this is app name. Oh. I see here. Okay. It's this right here. I forgot that this pulls in the comment. Oh, we don't need both of these. Actually, we can just call these applications. Now that we've defined it this way. Applications. Let's just call them apps. All right, now what we want to do here is, I guess we could run this, but it doesn't do a whole lot because we don't have a controller or anything that's really doing anything. So what I was looking to do was actually write up the manifest file for this deployment. So basically, the next step I think is making the deployment files for this service as it is, so that I can understand what's there, and then codifying that, basically, because for this service, a lot of things are going to have to get created for this application service because we're going to have to create an Istio, an entry in Istio. We're going to have to create a bunch of different things that are all going to do this. So basically, you're going to have your ingress controller that's going to do ingress into here. unless if obviously they have nothing, it's a private endpoint. We're going to have to create the nats or Kafka topic. So yeah. Basically, I want to describe this by hand. Actually, that's a good point, nats. How does this install? I just want to install it on my new kind cluster. I kind of think I want to use this. Install overview. What's next? Come on, you have to have a. You have to have a quick start somewhere, right? Coordinates. One thing I did see with Nats is it had a Rust IO, like a native one. So I was pretty excited about that. Yeah, check this out. Beautiful. Absolutely. I think I'm going to try using Nats since we're already. The Null Cloud's already powered by Kubernetes, undoubtedly. There's a lot of stuff that it's going to depend on. So like I don't have a problem making this call if it works. Here we go. Wait. Are you saying I made a mistake and typed async with a K? Or are you saying Nats did that? What? Are you serious? What? 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 I don't know whether to be amazed. That would have been a better. This is pretty. This is pretty amazing. Okay. Well, I will try to ignore that win. Ah, man, this always starts with Helm. Have I installed Helm? Yes, I have. Okay. It's kind of wild. I would never think to look for async like that. Yeah, I was looking at Nats and like honestly it looked good enough. I don't know it well. Like I would have to use it to find any difference between Kafka. Like I don't know that there's any difference. I'm not saying that there's a difference. I would. It looks like it has everything covered, and it has better Rust support. So I was going to go with Nats because I figured that, when we build this, when we build no this, these all need Rust clients that are going to hit it. So it looked like Nats was going to be easier. Um, yes, Jetstream is where the Jetstream part here is where it gets like the reliability. I believe that's where it has like the um yeah, the distributed persistence. That's what I was gonna say. Um and that is one of the things that I'd like. All right. I'll just follow along with their naming. This is in my kind cluster, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I actually I was gonna say I was looking at this. I don't know why this isn't part of the core functionality. To be honest, like to me, if you said that you were a message based system and you didn't offer this, I would use 0MQ. Which honestly, I wish that one of these systems would just be built on top of 0MQ. But like, yeah, there's no reason for you to exist if you're not going to provide this. So it looks like I'll have to work at configuring this. I won't worry about that right now. What I wanted to see is how complicated is it? I think it's actually a lot simpler. This should have nothing in it except Kubernetes. Wow, I meant -A. Um, I think that it's really just the server, right? I'm not sure why it has two, but effectively just the server. As a stateful set, that yeah, this is like super simple. And I like that because I think what's going to happen here is that everyone is going to, I don't think that they're going to get a Nats queue for every app, but every customer of the Null Cloud is going to get their own Nats queue. I'm not going to multi-tenancy it. I'm going to run a whole nother Nats message queue for each one. Maybe a gaming system. Yeah. Yeah, a gaming system. You could also do like real-time IoT stuff that's like, okay, well, if yeah, I guess if I was saying if I push something to the cloud and there's no server there or I'm disconnected, but even then it should just save that data locally and continue pushing it up when there is a connection. So that's also the client disconnecting. And if you were trying to push stuff down to the IoT device, if it wasn't listening, you'd still want it to get the message as soon as it did connect. So yeah, I don't know. I think the game system is maybe a good call though. I think the game system is probably a good call. It's not a system I deal with a lot, so it's probably not one I would have thought of right off the top of my head. Okay, so this is cool. Oh, the Nats box is there to. I see. I see. So this is to set it up. Okay. Oh, sweet. And they go through setting up Jetstream. So this should not be that difficult. Beautiful. I like this. I like this because I think one of the things that we would have to do is charge based off of how much Nats you're using. Which I don't know. Charging for a system like this is maybe going to be a hard thing. Figuring out how to make it transparent what's going to cost what. Because if your app has a ton of message passing, just a butt ton of it, and you're saving hundreds of gigabytes of logs, I don't know. That's going to be a future problem. Okay. Well, cool. I do want to do this really quickly, though. And then let's see. Nats a subtest. I need to be on a I need to be on a different. I can't just do this on the same terminal. I would need to here. I don't know if this will work. I don't know if this will work. We're going to try to connect to it twice. And we'll try to be on the publishing end over here. So we published over here. Did we? Yeah, we received. Sweet. Nats is working. You can define those limits per tenancy too. So I was thinking everybody would get their own Nats. Like you sign up and I create your own Nats installation. Maybe that's a wrong way of thinking about it. But yeah, we can. I'm not too worried about this at this point. Or I mean, that would be a waste. In theory, when you create your first application, it deployed Nats then for you. All right, this is good start. Let's exit here. Cool. I'm going to actually make a commit here. Because this is a good start. Let's exit out over here and close this. Yeah. Yeah. Is it really an option, though? I don't even think it's an option because, again, it has to have Nats for this communication. This is like part of the whole thing. Maybe like everybody gets like 1 gigabyte of persistence free. And then there's like a thing to say, I want more. I want to pay for more persistence. Maybe that's how. I mean, there'll be compute that goes along with it, but maybe you could abstract that just into gigabytes of storage. I'm not sure. But NATS is required because that's how the whole system works. I'm trying to make it so like doing microservices right is just done right. All of these things are going to have log aggregation. You have to pay for it because every application that gets deployed gets logs aggregated into a central, Elk stack or Grafana stack. I haven't decided on which one, but like you don't have to do that in Kubernetes. You don't have to make sure that your application writes the logs out to the right place and that you have fluent bit set up just right and all those types of things. No, you just have a window in your dashboard with all your logs for each piece of it. I didn't say that. Initially, I was just doing everything through the queues. I think that you should be able to do direct communication if you want. The most classic thing is an API service like this here. This API service might need to make a call to the AI manager to get something, and that should be a direct call. So I think things should be able to make direct API calls. Yes. Those direct API calls, though, so if you look here, what we have here, this message receiver, this is a message queue. When you do this, this is putting a message on a queue, and it will be received on another thread, yada, yada, yada. When you do a direct API, it's going to call a REST API endpoint. So I don't have an example of that here because I haven't used the direct. But like there should be a well-known service name in your deployment. Yeah, so I've been thinking about the database as well. I think we'll start with just Squirrel databases. I think we'll then add a Postgres. I think there should be object storage like S3. Right, but probably just not Nats or Kafka. It's just going to be Nats. But I mean, the person doesn't really need to care, right? It's just going to be a message queue. My whole thought was like, I want this cloud to be easy to do it the right way and take care of all those plumbing things that the right way, like, that makes it difficult. Like, some of those things you just can't get away from. But I also didn't want it to be unknown. So, like, you should be able to go see your Nats message queue and you should be able to go query it and understand what's happening. Like, it shouldn't be obfuscated. It should just all be done right for you. I don't know. Also, without the work of needing to be, a professional NATS deployer or database provider. Now, I don't know about one of each because you said like there's going to be SQLite. I think there should also be Postgres. I know here we're like doing it ourselves. I think it would be really cool if we had like an interface for, like if you want an SQL database in our thing, you do this. If you wanted a Postgres, all you do is you do something like pub my pgdb and some interface. Something like this. And locally, it mocks out a Postgres database or something. And or it requires you to have a connection string, and then when you deploy this application, it actually creates a Postgres database for you. That's well down the road. Right now, SQLite will support. I don't know about what we're going to do about block storage just yet. There's like min.io. I don't know if I can use min.io though. I feel like this is it Apache 2? It might be Apache 2. It's S3 compliant. It would be cool. They have pricing though. I feel like it's not. It's AGPL 3, which might be fine with me since I'm open source. Yeah, okay, so I'm not sure we can use min.io. Good point. Where's the open source project? I thought there was. Give me the open source. It's the AGPL 3. Blech. All right, maybe not min.io, but I would love to offer some sort of block storage. I'm not sure yet. But the whole idea behind those is not that you have the block storage, but that it just kind of works in the applications. You shouldn't need to do more to support them. It should just be that's what it is. I don't know. I don't know if all this makes sense. I'm not even sure if it's all possible. That's the idea behind the Null Cloud, though, is just make things simple. You want to run an application. You want to do it as a monolith locally. I want. Oh, they already made a hack? Okay, then I also want. We got to make basically examples. Do you know of something other than min.io that does that? I'm not sure how we'd integrate it at this point. Like, my mind can only think of SQLite and Nats at this point, pretty much. I think Postgres even offers some challenges. Like, Postgres as a service, I understand how we could provide that. But making it so that you can just define it in your code is hard. Yeah, Ceph. Oh boy, Ceph. No, thank you. You were saying lawyers were the alternative to Ceph. I'm wondering if that was the good alternative. I'm wondering now if we go the lawyers route. I couldn't afford it. All right. So we need to make deployment for this. Let me just write down what we need. So we need a ingress. We need the actual services. Seedweed FS. Supports erasure coding. So you should be able to get a pretty high level resiliency. That's good. Maybe if we leverage it, we become a backer. Yeah, it looks good. Okay. So we have ingress and the services. Nats. I don't know that we actually have to define anything in Nats, actually. I was thinking like we would set up a, configure some stuff, but I'm not sure if we need to. We'll put a question mark here. So I think these are the only things that we need to define at this point. The ingress and the services. The services are just going to be the containers, and they're just going to be Kubernetes deployments. And they're going to be in the names. This is how we're going to do namespaces, I think. Actually, namespaces have a size limit. What is that size limit? What is the size limit of a Kubernetes space? Kubernetes namespace name limit. Character limit. 63 characters. Nats will need an address to connect to from clients. So what I'm going to do initially is I'm going to manually install Nats, and we're just going to put that Nats config in everything. I'm not going to stand up at the very beginning. I'm not standing up a Nats for everybody. It's going to be one Nats to rule them all. Super insecure, but that's how we're going to start. All right, so it's 63 characters. In the future, you're right. I need to like set it up so that it can connect and communicate with their own Nats. But yeah. So I was thinking everything would be put in something like this. A Kate's namespace would equal the ID, the customer ID, ID slash app name. So basically, now we have to think about the only problem here. The only problem with this is that we do have a 63 character limit. So let's say the customer ID is a GUID. We're running low on how long app names can be. And in the darkness, lose their messages. You didn't pay for persistent disk. That's where I'm going to get them. That's where we're going to be profitable. You're going to get all this stuff. It's going to be great. And then it's going to be like the first time you lose a message, it's going to be like, wouldn't you love to pay for a gigabyte of persistent NAT storage? It's $20 a month. And you're like, no! I wrote everything to work for this. $20 a month. And then that's where the fact that they can run it on their own machines or run it in AWS themselves if they want screws me, because then they don't have to pay that $20 a month for a gigabyte. All right. Kate's namespace. So yeah. I'm not sure if I want you as a beta tester, Russell. I'm not entirely sure about that. Well, so I go back and forth on this. You could be a fantastic beta tester if I had the time to deal with all the crap that you break. Like, you're probably one of the better beta testers out there, but I'm just not sure that I could that would work. Ingress is another interesting one we're going to have to really think about. Because basically, eventually, people will need to bring their own domains, or should be able to bring their own domains. And eventually we'd partner with somebody like Cloudflare that provides that, or we do our own. We do our own, but most likely partner with somebody, not Cloudflare because they're expensive, but maybe they'll give us a deal since they're hurting. But they're very good. Let's see. So right now for ingress, I was just going to do like Null Cloud, and then something like customer ID, app name, service name. Done. I think that's what we're going to do. Or probably actually more not like this. We probably have like honestly, this probably should have its own domain, something like null cloud data for like the data plane, and do something like cloud.nullclouddata.io. Yeah, maybe something like this actually. All right. Let's get this ingress. I have an example ingress already in mind. Let's go open it up over here. So I have Istio ingress for my cloud. So let's look at how that is done. I don't know Istio ingress files off the top of my head. I always have to look at it. Always have to look at it. Not leaking anything. No, I think this is all open source. I think I got rid of all the secret stuff, and all of this is open source at this point. Yeah, all of this is open source. Okay, cool. So our ingress happens. Doesn't that happen here? I don't do it part of the app, right? That would be weird. Part of the infrastructure. We have cert manager, infrastructure. Oh, I might actually do it part of the web. Istio is part of the infrastructure. Web is part of the. So here we go. Service. We have a virtual service with using the. Now I think that the Istio networking is going away in the future, maybe. But this is what I was looking at more is this. Now we're going to use the same gateway, and then we're going to do a service on top of this. Okay. So that would be something like name. Let's see. Gateway. They should have their own gateway. That's where I was saying, like, I do think in the end we have a different domain that's going to have its own gateway. That's not the same as like the main website. I think that's also pretty standard. But for right now, we'll just leverage the same gateway, or at least for the time being. So it goes in the namespace, the virtual service, and its name is going to be. What is its name going to be? The name should equal something like customer ID, app name. Okay. Do we want to put service in its name? I always feel like that's redundant. No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Okay. This is just placeholder for right now. Anyways, hosts, gateway. We need to update this. The route needs to be updated. I'll have to look up the actual thing because we want the route to again be, this is going to be the base. We want it to be this right here, basically. Yeah. So let's go see how to do that. Ooh, they have V1 Beta 1. No change. All right, this is what I wanted right here. That was right at the HTTP. Okay. And then this was customer ID, app name, service name. And why is it upset about this? Oh, wait. I believe. Wait, I screwed this up. Let's see. Yeah, okay. This should be tabbed in one. You happy now? No. Match. Oh, route is under the. Okay, I got it. Route is under. Or it's in line with the match, yeah. Oh, it's not. Hasn't changed. Oh, I see what's happening. I see what's happening. Here we go. We'll do this, and then we'll just do this right here. Name. Name. And this is going to be like this. All right, yeah, cool. Okay, so this is pretty much our service. I think this looks good. Yeah. Okay. And then all we need is a deployment. We're just going to grab this deployment file. Easy enough. The destination will need to update because this is the null web and that's what it's routing to. And really this should be the app name. This should be the app name. And now this is the deployment. We're going to rename this file to deployment. And this is app name. The image, we're going to need the actual image. So that's, yep. So basically what this is going to do is it's going to take this API, the information we've gotten here, and build these manifest files out of it. So it's going to, and then when you update one of these, it's going to then update the manifest files here. I thought about this making manifest files and actually committing them to Git. I think maybe eventually that's what I'd like them to do, is then be committed to Git so like you as the customer could actually see the manifest files. I don't know. I think that would be cool, but it's definitely not required. Definitely not required. All right, let's do the namespace. I think the namespace shouldn't be like this. The namespace, customer ID and app name. I don't know what the customer ID will be. So Is this going to be the app name too? I don't think the app name needs to have customer ID in it, to be honest. And this is just going to be the image. I don't think this is syntax is right, but it's what I'm going with. Let's actually look that up. It's been a little while. It's been like a year since I've done this. Golang template. Yeah, it's double. Okay. All produce quoted string of output. This is what I do like, and what I think is pretty powerful is you can do like these. So what we ended up using these for in one project was we actually, and this actually I think the Golang workspaces added in 118 is actually pretty big and could help with. But to get the struct definitions, we had to include the entire cluster API project. And what it came out was better was just to make templates and just use those instead of including all of cluster API. It was a disaster. All right, so definitely double dosing here. Man, I'm gonna have to go back through and double do all of these. I messed up. It's also dot, unfortunately. Did I change app name? I did. Good catch, Merrick. Good catch. I think the null. Oh, I think this is gonna make you happy, Russell. I think this is gonna make you happy. I think I'm done with Tailwind. I think I'm done with Tailwind. I thought that it was making some things faster, and then I hit this. I hit this, and this just makes me sad. So I started making the dashboard for the Null Cloud. It's just unreadable. Now, I'm not saying that I did the best job. Oh, yeah. You too. Thanks for joining it all. I really appreciate that you come out and hang out. But yeah, I think I'm done with Tailwind. That's just gross. That's just gross. Guess I've actually been streaming for 2 hours as it is. Probably eventually we allow him to set port and a bunch of other things, but I think this is a good enough start. I think it is. Same with this. So we need ingress, we have ingress. We need service, we have the service. We have the deployment. I'll call this the deployment. Cool. If that's the case, I'm probably going to stop streaming for today. It was a long day. Got some work to catch up on as well. Not really catch up, I have a lot of work to do. So I'll probably start doing that. Thanks everyone for joining. I had a good time, and I will see you in the next one.